Rob, I think I actually have an early phone call from Patty, and if we could go ahead and bring that up, Patty, go ahead.
Hi, I asked my husband for a divorce about 3 months ago, and I didn't actually file for a divorce until last month. But somehow, in between, I've noticed that there's about $100,000 missing out of our savings account.
Oh my gosh.
He always did all of the banking and paid the bills, and I don't have access to any of those passwords or anything like that, so he won't give it to me, so I can't figure out where this money went. Is this something that my divorce attorney can figure out? Because she doesn't seem like she can really figure it out either.
Okay, excellent question. Rob, I'm sure that when you have, one of the biggest problems I know that any marriage has is financial issues, and the strain that can put on a relationship is just, can be, and it sounds like in this case, insurmountable. What are some of the tools that you have in your toolbox to try to deal with these kind of problems?
Well, so it's very odd, that until a divorce is filed, it's kind of like the Wild Wild West.
Correct.
Once the divorce is filed, there are rules in place to stop something like this from happening, or at least order that it not happen. But the rules of discovery and mandatory disclosures will get you bank statements. They're supposed to provide all kinds of bank statements, all kinds of credit card statements, all kinds of things like that, that hopefully your attorney at that point should be able to go look through those statements and try to find where the money went. And if the attorney can't, then at that point you're probably gonna have to get involved with some sort of financial professional to go down and maybe even a forensic accountant to try to track down where the money went. And hopefully you get that all on the backside. There are some rules about it depending on what the money was spent on or where it went or things of that nature, but just tracking it down by itself, the bank records and everything else will be able to help you do that.
Right, and that's something we get asked very frequently in our practice, Rob, is, do these people have money that they can pay over and above their, insurance policy limits? And, as you know, there's obviously readily identifiable information like real property and if you own businesses and things of that nature. But when you start talking about financial accounts, there's a lot of financial privacy out there, and it's not easy to get that outside of those tools of discovery like you referenced.
Right.
Now, in a normal civil case, you're not a lot of times available to access that type of information, especially with regards to collection, until you're going and have a judgment and now you're trying to collect on it. Conversely, when you're dealing in your area, that's the kind of stuff, as you mentioned, I believe, that you're trying to get as a disclosure fairly early on, and you may have an obligation to voluntarily divulge that information where all these accounts are, and if not, you can have serious consequences if you're not doing full and fair disclosure with the particular judges. Am I right, Rob?
No, that's exactly right, Ted, because what ends up happening is, when you go through a divorce, first of all, it's a no-fault divorce date, and that's fine, but, there has to be what they call equitable distribution. That means, you guys are going to have to list out your property, you're going to have to list out your assets, you're going to have to list out your financial accounts, bank accounts, retirement accounts, any type of account that you've got pretty much has to be voluntarily disclosed through the mandatory disclosure process, and you have to file what's called a financial affidavit, which essentially is a listing of all these items and all these financial accounts onto one form, and then that form you back up with all the documents that show what you're telling on the form is truth. And until that form is filed, you can't even move forward with the case. So it's got to be done fairly early on, and mandatory disclosures are supposed to be done within 45 days of service. And then if that doesn't work out, then you have to start filing other motions and motions to compel and third-party subpoenas where you can actually subpoena bank accounts from different banks and things of that nature.
Well, Patty, it sounds like you're going to have to go ahead and start that process now, and hopefully through the course of discovery you're able to get all the information you need so that you can get to that position where you can have that fair and equitable distribution. But we wish you luck in that process. I know it's a tough time.